should fall, then steady you must stand, brother, stand, and defend our motherland. Through the blazing sun of summer, through the mud and rain and sand, and line after line we'll await our king's command. For the pride of Ansteorra we will stand, brother, stand, and defend our motherland. Through the blazing sun of summer, through the mud and rain and sand.
What do you prefer to go by at events?
Thomas.
Just Thomas? No emphasis on title or anything like that? No. How long have you been in the SCA?
Would be coming up on 4 years, about 3.5 years.
Okay. And you started in Moonshadow, didn't you?
Yes.
What brought you in? How did you come into it?
Through a friend.
Through a friend? Those are always the best references.
Aaron, Aaron
from which, I know 8 Aarons, which one?
The one that was at the wedding.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So did you know what you were getting into, or was it just a friend recommended?
I had some idea of what I was getting into, but
did the expectations exceed or come short of the experience? Exceed. All right.
I wouldn't have stayed if they'd fallen short.
Okay, fair. What's your persona?
16th century Dutch.
Okay. Now I know with that late in the period, the Dutch were well traveled. Would your persona have been well traveled? I mean, would you have gone to England or Spain, or do you consider yourself more?
Not Spain.
Not Spain. Well, I didn't say it was under friendly terms.
The Dutch toward the end of the period were actually my persona is just pre-Dutch revolt. So.
Okay.
So I still technically play Catholic.
Now, are you currently an officer or a deputy or any of the informal leadership roles in society?
I am currently the Sable Tower Pursuivant.
Okay, and what does that office entail?
Northkeep Baronial Herald.
Gotcha. How long have you been that role?
I am coming up on my two-year turnover. End of office will be at the end of this year.
Not looking
December.
to extend?
If I can get someone to do it, I would. If I can get someone that's interested, I want to turn it over because I want more people to do it.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'll extend as long as needed. I don't mind doing the job. I don't mind doing the reports. I mind Kingdom losing my submissions.
Okay, that's fair. I kind of want to have a Herald's bitch session sometime where we all just sit around and share our mutual complaints about all of the heartache we've had as Heralds. Let's talk about your...
I mind being called the College of Hurdles.
I hadn't heard that. What activities, outside of events, what activities do you most often attend?
Populace, obviously.
Populace.
I'm an officer. I have to give a report every populace. Scribal night.
Okay.
I don't do the painting. I do the calligraphy. Mm-hmm. My lady wife does the painting.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually done some kingdom level scrolls.
Oh, excellent.
Queen's Hope. We did last year. We did Queen's Hope for the last reign.
Okay.
We're doing Royal Huntsman for this reign.
Oh, excellent.
Which reminds me, I need to get the calligraphy done on that.
Okay.
Yes, we do CNI, and I do a lot of work the submissions. Submission side.
Yeah, that's a lot of your work as an officer then.
Yeah. A lot of it's my work as an officer, but CNI, some cooking.
All right.
The hedgehogs.
Oh, that's right.
I put one of those in.
That's right. I remember you did have an entry. How'd you do on that one? What was the final score?
The lady that brought the super elaborate. She
uncovered it, and we
non-period.
Yeah, we all heard our first place trophy fly out the window when she did that.
But when she was presented, she called me up for mine.
I wasn't in court for that. Oh my God, that's awesome.
She called me up for mine.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Specifically saying, it was really well done. It's really hard to do a period recipe that looks good and tastes good.
And she's right. Let's talk a little bit about your awards. This is formal awards or any any informal recognitions you received, do any of them have any particular emotional significance for you?
Not really at this point.
Not really. They're all kind of even keel.
All
on
one
that,
of them.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Your AOA, correct?
Yeah. Maybe if I get like a crane or something past that, that'll have something more.
I think I was 6 years, 7 years between awards. Actually, I was a decade between awards before I got my
Iris, your star.
Star, yeah.
Strangely enough, the award that has the most emotional impact for me wasn't mine.
Which one?
My wife's AOA.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Were you the herald reading the scroll, or no?
It got given at golf course in camp.
I gotcha.
In fact, she specifically did not want me to be the one reading the scroll. She wanted me to be there to escort her.
Oh, I think that's fair.
Probably would have broken if I had read the scroll.
If someone were to see you at an event during the day, what are you most likely doing?
Sight heralding, court heralding. Maybe if I'm feeling particularly squirrely, maybe I'm at the archery line.
Okay. Same question, but after sunset.
Court herald.
Court herald.
Or at feast.
Or
feast herald.
Feast herald. One of my recruits.
Maybe bardic.
All right.
I might be at a bardic circle. I might be doing that during the day too.
True.
Depending on when bardic is happening.
Yeah. What is something you want people to know about you?
That come up and ask if you need something.
Okay, so you consider yourself
willing to
approachable. Okay.
Yeah, I'm willing to help.
What's something in the SCA you love to talk about?
I like to talk about heraldry. Mm-hmm. For one thing, heraldry works.
It does. Now,
my wife takes pictures. She's got pictures of all kind of things at Gulf Wars, and she says, "I don't know. I'm not sure who that is. That's the King and Queen of North Shield." How do you know? Because heraldry works.
Yes. And there's one story I want to draw out here, just because it's apropos for the moment. I believe Mahdi issued a very specific description of your heraldry, wasn't it?
Both mine and my wife's.
That's right. How did he describe them?
Aggressively simple.
Which, coming from the founding member of the militant arm of the College of Heralds, that's high
praise.
Yeah.
From someone who says that heraldry should always follow the 10-word blazon test.
Yeah. I just about broke him with the one I turned in that was 26 words. What do you feel is, and I'm going to make you drill down a little bit on this one because you've mentioned a lot of vocal skills. If you had to pick one area or one specific skill, what do you think is your single strongest skill set in the SCA?
Court heralding.
Court heralding? Okay.
Because so many court heralds up there just butcher names. Mm-hmm. Well, court and list, I'll say.
Yeah.
Any heraldry that has me pronouncing names, because so many heralds butcher names.
And I've heard you herald. You do take great pains to get the pronunciation right, and it does show.
Yeah.
I have seen.
I want to get the names right. This is their name. This is important to them.
You're absolutely right.
I owe it to them to get it right.
Now let's take a little bit of a step back and talk kind of about you as a person. If someone did want to talk to you and they don't know you, how do you want them to approach you?
Come up and introduce yourself.
Any particular title you want to hear or anything like that? Nope. Just stick your hand out, shake hands, and say hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any kind of fancy bling or anything. Just come up and say hi.
Could you talk about and this is both formal and informal relationships. Could you talk about some of your SCA relationships?
Okay. I've learned a lot from the heralds that I've talked to.
Mm-hmm.
I consider most of my SCA relationships to be with heralds.
Okay, so you're definitely...
I'm a herald here.
Yeah, definitely in deep with the College of Heralds and the heraldic community.
And the calligraphers.
True. As you just said, you do calligraphy yourself. Yeah.
So, I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot about how to cry a site from you, how to cry a list from you.
I've taken my class, 3 times now?
Twice.
Twice.
And have brought stuff from my own list, from my own experience on the list to it.
Yep.
And Castellana's class. My first experience list heralding was at Castellana doing that learn from the pros class at Crown Tournament.
Oh, yeah.
When Mergenfeld hosted it.
Yeah, I didn't make that one, but I remember you telling me about it.
And part of that class was you're gonna herald a couple fights in Crown Tournament.
Dive in the deep end, huh?
Yeah, throw you in the deep end. And then getting to be on the other side of that and organize the heraldry for Crown Tournament. List heraldry for Crown Tournament.
It's a whole different animal, isn't it?
It's a different beast. But the first thing I did was I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it all myself, so I reached out. So I reached out to people I knew, and people I knew would be reliable. So I reached out to Ivo. I reached out to Castellana.
I remember those emails. Let's take a step back, bigger picture. What's something about the current SCA you might want to change?
I'd like to change the attitude about heralds.
Okay.
I'd like to change people's attitude about heralds. I mean, when you hear people, when you take pride in being a herald and being a good herald, when you hear people refer to the College of Hurdles, that's personally painful.
Yeah.
When you know how hard you work at trying to get names of devices that'll pass, trying to give people the, well, that's not going to pass, but here's something close that will. Or when you have to go back to your client and you say, well, I'm sorry, it got turned back, and it got turned back because of A, B, and C.
Yeah. That I could see where that would create serious problems, and it would.
It's not me. The decisions are made at a higher level than me.
Now, let's dig into that a little bit. And then I don't think I'm airing any dirty laundry when I say that the College of Heralds has some of its own issues.
Yes.
And some of our detractors definitely have slightly shorter fuses and bigger mouths than might be considered fair in a conversation.
Yes.
Do you consider
some of the people in the college that are problems have shorter fuses and bigger mouths than should be appropriate?
Do you consider that? Well, let me open this up a little bit. If we were going to change public perception, do you think we should educate the public, or do you think we should change the way the College of Heralds work, or a combination?
Both.
Both.
We should have a little more transparency on commentary at the Laurel level.
Okay.
I think because if you're not fairly senior, you don't even get to see it.
Yeah.
You're a consultant. You're a local consulting herald, or a local herald that's trying to follow a device for a member of your populace. You don't even get to see commentary unless you're already a senior level commenting herald. I'm not saying everyone should be able to make commentary at oral level,
but get some idea of what's going on.
But if you've got commentary permissions, if you have commentary permissions in a kingdom, you should be able to at least view commentary
at the Laurel
level.
Okay.
Also, how are you going to get better at commentary if you don't get to see the high level commentary?
See the top level. All right, I can definitely see how that would factor in. What do you think are some of the bigger misperceptions from the general populace standpoint?
That we want devices to fail, or that we want to tell people no.
Okay. I've run into that myself. I'm remembering those.
I don't want to tell people no. I want to tell people that's probably not going to work, but here's something that will.
There are rules to heraldry.
Yes, I want to tell people. I want to educate people on the rules.
Mm-hmm. It's like you said before. Heraldry works, but part of the reason it works is there are rules.
Yes.
All right. I think that's a good summary of in its own right, sometimes misunderstood situation. So I'm really glad you got into that. What do you think? And this is kind of the opposite of the earlier question I asked. What do you think is your biggest contribution to society right now?
Getting the baronial heraldic title for Northkeep through and passed.
That was yours? I mean, that was your project?
That was my baby.
I'd heard it had passed. I didn't know who had started it and who'd finished it. So
well, when I took the office, Their Excellency said, "Okay, your part of your job now is to get our heraldic title."
Okay. Congratulations.
So that's been my baby.
That is no small feat. And that means every herald subsequent to you carries that title, correct?
Correct.
Congratulations on that, by the way. So
for right now, that's my legacy.
Not a bad place to start. And you're a young man. You only have a few gray hairs. What's something new you'd like to try in the SCA?
I'd kind of like to be able to marshal, not necessarily fight, but marshal. Know the rules, know the safety regs, and be able to, for one thing, at a big event, like a Gulf War, a Pensive War, if I can marshal, that frees up someone to fight.
True. Yeah, and it's...
if I, who can't fight, marshals...
So are you looking at heavy or light or both?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. I know there's always been a big press at the bigger wars when I was at Gulf Wars to get more marshals, so you feel that's a calling, something you could...
That's something I can contribute.
All right.
Because again, that frees up someone who fights to fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because these guys that fight, they didn't go there to marshal.
Yeah.
They went there to fight.
They didn't come there to stand around and watch everyone else go thump on each other.
And, heraldry, field heraldry, voice heraldry, I got a loud voice.
Yeah. Now,
so that can help a marshal.
Two more questions. Well, first one is there anyone else who you think, or is there anyone else you would like to see sit down for an interview?
I'd like to see His Grace Mahdi sit down for one of these.
That would be, God, that'd be
just
dangerous.
The answer, the perspective.
The perspective, but also the personality, because several of the people I've interviewed before have talked about Mahdi. Actually getting him on camera, and you see, guys like you or me, we're like, okay, we'll take what comes. Mahdi's like, I know what's coming, and it doesn't scare me.
Well, it was a great joy of mine to, and part of coordinating heraldry at Crown Tournament was making sure that all the fighters and everyone who fought in Crown Tournament, if they wanted a herald, they had one.
Yeah, that's been a big deal for a number of years.
And if they needed, and if it came down to it, that someone was going to be me. And I got to herald Mahdi in at the front of the line.
Yeah. That must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it was. It was the second most fun thing I got to do that day.
What was the first?
Heralding the finals.
Oh yeah. Oh God. I've done a crown finals.
Getting to be the one that called out to the crowd who won, who was going to be the prince.
Who is your new prince? Yeah.
That was incredible.
My first Gulf Wars back. I guess about 6 or 7 years ago now. I volunteered to head up list heraldry for Rose's tournament, which I'd never actually been to a Rose's tournament. 178, 79 fighters. That was an endurance fight for all of us. So,
Yet.
last question, and I've been ending all my interviews this way, and a little bit of a story behind it. Do you know who Sir Ricardo de Pisa was?
I do not.
Okay. He was the knight who forged the Sword of State.
Like blacksmith.
He teamed
Heat
up.
and beat.
He teamed up with a master blacksmith from, I believe, the Central region, and they forged the Sword of State. And it originally was his personal sword.
Wow.
And he was I believe it was a liver transplant subject. And during a follow-up minor surgery, right before Gulf Wars of '98, he developed an infection and passed. And his wife, and he was one of the first great Ansteorra knights. We were a young kingdom back then. That was my first Gulf Wars. I never actually met the man, but his wife, actually no, I believe it was one of the squires, offered the sword to Ansteorra and as a loan, and that's been the Sword of State ever since.
Wow.
When people were asking about him, one of the quotes said about him at the time was he was a hero from a kingdom of heroes. Which, as much as some of our antics, we truly do embody the heroic attributes of the individual here on Ansteorra. Now, all that being said, that poetry and that emotion, which is what I want to invoke, and this doesn't have to be most or greatest in any metric, but who are some people you consider heroes within Ansteorra, or even from without?
In the society? His Grace Mahdi.
Okay. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that one.
Adalia Vonderburg.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Dahlia is an excellent subject.
There's nothing she can't do, or at least get someone to do. She has people.
She does.
My good friend Laszlo Niliash, the person that got me into this.
Yeah. I never could say the name right. It's what? Russian?
Laszlo Niliash.
Laszlo Niliash.
It's Hungarian.
Hungarian. Okay, gotcha. I honestly spend more time talking with them online than I do in person, so I only have to type the name. I don't have to spell it. I have to say it.
Well, it doesn't sound anything like it's spelled.
I know. So,
And another one that's much more recent, just in the last few months. His Majesty.
Oh, Vladislav, yeah.
His Majesty Vladislav.
What about him? I have to ask because, of course, I know Vlad from back when he was a green around the gills rookie.
I have never seen him without a ridiculously huge grin on his face.
Oh yeah. That's Vlad.
He has fully embraced the fun, the joy.
That is Vlad. As an interesting side note, these questions are drawn from an original article I did online some years ago. He did answer many of these same questions, and it is online. I'll make sure to link that in the notes. So that's everything I have. Thank you very much. That was an excellent interview. Thank you.
I should fall, then steady you must stand, brother, stand, and defend our motherland. Through the blazing sun of summer, through the mud and rain and sand, and line after line will await our king's command. For the pride of Ansteorra we will stand, brother, stand, and defend our motherland. Through the blazing sun of summer, through the mud